If your life is poor, it is not because riches are missing. It is because your thought is misdirected. You believe the world must change first, but the world is only your mirror. Riches are not won with muscle, nor earned by luck. Riches are revealed to the man who trains his mind to see them. You are surrounded by opportunity, by gold, by law, yet you may be blind to it. The blind man stumbles past treasure because his vision was never trained. So, too, you have walked past wealth, not because it was not there, but because your mind was not ordered to see it. You were born into a sea of abundance, but the sea does not pour itself into your cup unless you raise your vessel. Thought is your vessel. Faith is your guide. Decision is your captain. And unless these forces are trained, the ship never leaves the dock. I say to you, riches are not first earned by the hand. They are commanded by the mind. Until you think in riches, you shall walk in lack. Until you command your subconscious, you shall drift with fear. Until your aim becomes law, your life will reflect disorder. Your thoughts roam like unbroken horses, wild, proud, and undirected. But you were not born to be ruled by them. You were born to be their master. You must break the mind, harness its power, and direct it toward definite riches. This is not fantasy. This is law. Do not ask, where is my wealth? Ask, where is my attention? For attention is the seed of riches. Controlled thought is the lever that moves the world. You are not missing opportunity. You are missing mental command. This speech will give you 8 iron laws, 8 mental disciplines to train your mind to think in riches, prosperity, power, and right service. Not once. Not when it feels good, but daily, faithfully, rhythmically. For what you repeat, you become. And what you become, you attract. Carnegie built with this law. Ford expanded with it. Edison created light through it. Rockefeller walked in silent wealth because he trained his mind to think in empires. They were not lucky. They were not chosen. They were obedient. They thought with law. They spoke with belief. They trained their subconscious mind to repeat only the picture of definite purpose. They moved in silence. They acted as if their future was already delivered, and so it came. And now it is your turn. You shall not think as you have thought. You shall no longer visit doubt, rehearse fear, speak confusion. You shall now learn to think in wealth, walk in belief, act with definiteness, and plant daily seeds of power. These laws are not for the casual. They are not for the drifter, the doubter, or the passive. They are for the builder, the doer, the silent man who has decided, I will think in riches until I become them. Do not treat this lightly, for the power you are about to access has built kingdoms. It has formed railroads, carved cities, and summoned fortunes from thin air. It is not external. It is within you. Let us now begin. Let us now train the mind, and let us plant only riches. Let us repeat only belief. Let us become the man that wealth obeys. Let us begin with the first law. Say it aloud. I train my mind to think only in riches. I speak only in wealth. I become what I command. The first law is this. The mind must be dominated by a definite chief aim. Not influenced, not inspired, dominated. For no man can command riches whose thoughts are scattered. No ship arrives at harbor without a destination. No life produces abundance unless it is directed by one ruling purpose, clearly defined and deeply felt. The majority of men never define their purpose. They drift. They rise each day and respond to the noise of others. Their thoughts are not their own. Their time is sold cheaply. Their actions are guided not by inner command, but by external demand. And so they earn just enough to survive, but never enough to command. If you wish to build riches, the first step is not work, it is writing. You must sit with yourself. You must decide, what do I desire above all else? What is the single aim for which I will give my thought, my faith, my persistence, and my obedience? Until this is answered, all effort is wasted. All action is blind. It was Andrew Carnegie who gave me this command. He said, Young man, sit down and write the purpose of your life. Until that is done, you are working against the laws of riches. I obeyed, and my life was never the same. From that moment on, I was no longer a wanderer. I was a commander. Write this now. My definite chief aim is the guiding law of my mind. I give my thoughts no option but to serve this purpose. Do not write it like a wish. Do not write it like a hope. Write it like a decree. Your mind is a government. Your definite chief aim is its constitution. Every thought must align with it. Every word must reinforce it. Every action must serve it, and anything that does not must be cast out. Until your aim is in ink, it is only air. Until it is spoken aloud, it is only imagination. And until it is burned into your subconscious by daily repetition, it is only a seed left on stone. Do not say you're too busy to write your aim. That is like saying the farmer is too busy to plant his seed. That is the excuse of the drifter, not the discipline of the builder. You have time. What you need is decision. Say this aloud. I give my mind no option but to obey my aim. I think in line with wealth. I reject all stray thought. A vague mind leads to a vague life. A man who thinks of riches, then of worry, then of pleasure, then of fear, has already decided to fail. The mind cannot serve two masters. Either it is governed by your chief aim, or it is governed by drift. Let me repeat the law. Until your definite chief aim becomes the master thought of your daily life, wealth cannot obey you. The riches you desire must be summoned by thought, backed by faith, reinforced by repetition, proven by action. Read your aim aloud every morning. Before the world speaks, let your voice be the first law your mind hears. Speak it with emotion. Stand tall. Breathe deep. Speak like a builder, not a beggar. Read it again every night. Fall asleep with your aim stamped on the screen of your imagination. If you feel foolish speaking it aloud, it is because the voice of doubt still rules your inner chamber. You must drown it out. You must speak until you believe, and believe until you no longer remember what it was like to doubt. When the subconscious mind hears the same command daily with emotion, it begins to accept it as reality. And when it accepts it, it begins to work day and night to bring it to pass. People, opportunities, insight, timing, all move to obey the man whose mind is definite. Do not hide your aim. Post it on your wall. Carry it in your pocket. Let it live in your voice and your eyes. Let your friends call you obsessed. Obsession is the price of greatness. Let the world mock. Let the world drift. You will obey law, and law will reward you. Repeat this now. My aim is written. My aim is spoken. My aim is felt. My aim is law. If your mind has not been dominated by one great purpose, it will be dominated by 1,000 small impulses. That is not wealth. That is slavery. You must choose. Will you command riches or react to circumstances? You cannot build wealth in fragments. You cannot grow an oak from scattered seed. You must plant one aim, water it with belief, protect it with discipline, speak it with authority, and act in its direction daily. This is the first law. And without it, all other laws are void. No amount of reading, wishing, or labor will replace it. You must define your purpose. You must write it. You must read it aloud. You must repeat it until your mind becomes the instrument of that one thought. Say it with power. I do not live by confusion. I do not drift. I do not divide my attention. I live by purpose. I live by law. I live by my chief aim. And now, before we proceed, do not listen further until you have obeyed. Take pen, take page, take voice, write the aim, speak it aloud, read it again tonight, and return tomorrow not as a wanderer, but as one who has decided. Let us now proceed to the next law. The subconscious mind does not argue. It does not debate. It does not question what is repeated. It obeys it. Every time you speak a thought aloud, it is recorded. Every time you imagine a result, it is engraved. Every time you feel a belief, it is planted. The subconscious mind becomes what you repeat. Most men are poor not because they lack desire, but because they rehearse poverty in their thought. They speak of debt, they speak of hardship, they think of loss, they imagine misfortune, and the mind, ever obedient, says, "Very well." And so the world arranges itself to match the pattern. You must decide, what shall I repeat? For repetition is power. Repetition is law. Repetition is how belief becomes nature. It is not a man's moment of inspiration that changes his life. It is what he tells himself hour by hour that carves his reality. Repeat this aloud now. I do not repeat confusion. I do not repeat fear. I do not repeat limitation. I repeat riches. I repeat law. I repeat power. You do not get what you want. You get what you think about all day long. Your desire must be trained like a seed in a field, and you do not plant a seed once. You plant, water, guard, protect, and speak over it daily. So it is with the riches of the mind. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb by accident. He imagined it, then rehearsed it mentally thousands of times before the filament ever glowed. The invention was born in the mind first. The mind created it by repeating the image so consistently that the world could not help but follow. Likewise, you must form the habit of repeating prosperity, not once, not twice, but over and over, until the thought of riches becomes the only rhythm your mind will accept. Write this now. I am a builder of riches. Money obeys my definite thought. My service brings compensation. My life is aligned with purpose. I am the type of man who attracts wealth. Say each aloud. Say them with force. Say them again tonight. Say them again tomorrow. Say them until your voice no longer trembles, until your heart no longer doubts, until your circumstances begin to bend under the weight of your command. Most men whisper prosperity and shout fear. You must reverse the order. You must declare riches and go silent toward doubt. Your speech must match your vision. Your vision must match your aim. And your aim must be repeated until the subconscious mind no longer resists. Understand this. The subconscious is a fertile field, but it does not decide what is planted. You do. And if you plant weeds, worry, hesitation, negativity, you shall harvest accordingly. But if you plant definite riches and reinforce them with spoken word, you shall reap in due season. Repeat aloud. My mind accepts only prosperity. My words speak only belief. My vision sees only riches. This is not about hope. This is about control. You must train your inner ear to expect wealth. You must train your inner eye to see abundance. You must train your tongue to speak only in alignment with your aim. Do not say, I will try. Say, I will do. Do not say, I hope it comes. Say, I have decided to build it. Your vocabulary must be stripped of weakness. Your speech must become the forge of faith. Each repetition strengthens the roots. Each affirmation builds the wall. Each declaration clears the weeds. And when this has been done daily, without interruption, you will look up and discover that your outer world has begun to mirror your inner obedience. You must protect your repetition. You must guard your inner circle. A man cannot speak riches and then sit among critics. He cannot affirm wealth and then gossip of lack. His inner climate must match his spoken law. If your surroundings mock your belief, withdraw. If your friends weaken your repetition, detach. If your environment poisons your mental atmosphere, replace it. The builder of riches must protect his garden with fire. Say this now. I repeat my law until it becomes my language. I speak riches until I feel them. I speak purpose until I become it. The greatest mistake is inconsistency. To affirm riches in the morning and then speak fear in the afternoon is like watering a seed and then burning it with oil. The subconscious cannot serve two voices. You must give it one master, and that master must be prosperity. This is how the law of cosmic habit force takes over. When a thought is repeated long enough, the subconscious accepts it as permanent. And when it is permanent, it becomes routine. And when it becomes routine, the world must obey it. Speak this final affirmation today. I do not wait for riches. I think them into being. I do not beg for success. I repeat its law. I do not wonder. I declare. Now take the next hour and repeat. Take your aim, take your affirmations, speak them aloud, write them again, repeat them again tonight. Do this not once, but every day, for repetition is the chisel that shapes the mind into a magnet for wealth. Let us now proceed to the next law. No man can fill his mind with wealth if it is already filled with doubt. The seed of riches cannot take root in poisoned soil, and doubt is poison, silent, subtle, but deadly. You must cleanse the mind. You must remove the voice of uncertainty. You must tear out the root of fear before you expect the root of fortune to grow. Most men live with doubt as if it were a companion. They feed it with their thoughts. They speak it without noticing. They accept it as truth because it sounds familiar. But understand me now. Doubt is not truth. Doubt is noise. Doubt is the enemy. And if you do not conquer it, it will quietly conquer you. You must ask, whose voice is this that tells me I cannot? Is it mine, or did I borrow it? From a parent who feared? From a teacher who limited? From failure I never forgot? The mind is not naturally fearful. It is trained to fear, and so it must be retrained to believe. Write this now. I reject doubt as false. I believe in my wealth before it is seen. I speak my success into being. Abraham Lincoln was ridiculed, hated, rejected, and still he moved forward, not because he was applauded, but because he was directed by an inner law. His belief was not dependent on public support. His belief was built in solitude, hammered into his mind by decision, repetition, and duty. That is how belief is built, not by feeling, but by command. You do not believe because you feel strong. You believe because you decide to believe. You repeat belief until it takes root deeper than emotion, deeper than memory. You speak it until it becomes real. Take your aim, take your affirmations, and stand before yourself each morning. Read them aloud. Say them with strength. Say them until you override the voice of doubt. Say them until you feel yourself rise. Say them until fear has no oxygen left to breathe. Here is your exercise. Write your most persistent doubt on paper, the phrase you hear most, the sentence that haunts your progress. I'm not ready. I don't have enough. What if I fail? Write it, burn it, and replace it with truth. Replace it with, I am ready now. I move because I have decided. I build wealth because I was born to command it. Doubt is not logical. It is emotional. So it must be overwhelmed by feeling. You cannot reason your way out of fear. You must declare your way out. The subconscious accepts emotion more than argument. Speak with fire. Speak with power. Speak with rhythm until the mind obeys. Do not tolerate small self-talk. You cannot speak poverty and build riches. You cannot think weakness and command strength. What you speak becomes your signal. What you repeat becomes your instruction. And your subconscious listens to everything. Say this aloud now. I no longer host doubt. I no longer serve fear. I no longer believe the voice that tells me to wait. The mind that is full of fear cannot perceive riches even when they appear. It looks at opportunity and calls it danger. It looks at risk and calls it death. But belief reverses the lens. Belief sharpens the eye. Belief opens the door to infinite intelligence. Most men ask, what if it doesn't work? But the man of riches asks, what if it does? Most say, it's not time yet. But the wealthy man says, this is the hour. Doubt waits. Belief begins. Take 10 minutes each morning and each evening to rehearse belief. Sit in silence. Repeat your aim. Repeat your affirmations. Say, I am the man who builds wealth. I am the man who acts with faith. I am the man who no longer serves fear. Do not stop until you feel the resistance weaken. You will know the moment when belief takes over. You will feel the weight lift. The voice of hesitation will fall silent, and you will move, not because it is easy, but because you no longer identify with fear. If you miss a day, begin again. If you feel weak, speak louder. If you forget, forgive yourself and restart. The builder does not need perfection, only repetition. The law does not demand flawlessness. It demands obedience. Say this now with certainty. My mind no longer belongs to doubt. I train it to believe. I feed it with faith. I direct it with power. And now begin to act on that belief. Today, take one bold step. Make one decisive move in the direction of your chief aim, not later. Now, not perfect, just present. Each act of belief reinforces your identity, and each identity shapes your destiny. This is the law. Belief is not passive. Belief is built through daily declaration and faithful movement. Belief is not born. Belief is earned. And if you earn it, nothing can stop you. The poor man looks upon the world and sees scarcity. He says there is not enough: money, time, help, power. And by this perception, he proves himself correct. But the rich mind does not look for what is missing. It searches for what is possible. It trains itself to see wealth in all things, even in difficulty, even in loss. You must recondition your inner eye, for all things in this world contain value, but that value is only visible to the trained observer. Gold lies in the earth, but only the miner sees it. Opportunity lies in people, in situations, in problems, but only the prepared mind detects it. Say this aloud. I see wealth in every place. I train my eyes to find value. I do not complain. I convert. A man is poor not because the world lacks value, but because he does not know how to see it. The builder sees failure and learns. The drifter sees failure and flees. The builder sees waste and finds a system. The drifter sees effort and surrenders. When Henry Ford looked upon the mess of steel scraps and manual labor, he did not despair. He saw efficiency. He saw systems. He saw movement. He created the assembly line, not by chance, but because his mind was trained to ask, how can this be made to serve my aim? That question must become your daily prayer. How can this be used to serve my definite chief aim? When the world mocks you, there is power to be found. When you lose something, there is a lesson to be stored. When time seems wasted, there is insight to be extracted. When nothing is happening, your mind must be sharpening. There is no moment without potential, but you must choose to see it. You must repeat belief, not just in yourself, but in your surroundings. The builder says, all things are working for me, and so they do. The drifter says, everything is against me, and so it is. Your thought becomes the lens through which wealth is seen or missed. Repeat now. Everything around me contains value. I search for it. I recognize it. I claim it. This principle is not magic. It is mental preparation. The subconscious mind becomes like a magnet. When trained by repeated aim, belief, and affirmation, it begins to search. It begins to notice. It begins to draw in people, ideas, and events that align with your chief aim. You do not need to force opportunity. You need to become the man who sees it. You do not need to hope for wealth. You need to train the mind that detects wealth in places where others see only dust. Your speech must reflect this belief. Never say, I can't afford. Say, I am learning to command greater riches. Never say, this is useless. Say, what can I extract from this? Never say, this is bad luck. Say, this is refinement. Thoughts spoken aloud return to the mind with greater force. Words are not idle. They are instructions. Speak wealth, speak power, speak discovery, speak opportunity. And soon your eyes will begin to see what you have been training your subconscious to expect. Take this exercise. As you go about your day, write down 5 moments where you saw opportunity where others would have seen lack. Train the muscle, sharpen the lens, learn to detect value. Repeat this. My eyes are not for fear. My eyes are trained for riches. My mind does not complain, it commands. Do not overlook small things. A stranger's words, a sudden delay, a seeming setback. All things can be used by the mind that sees. Most men reject these moments. The wealthy man studies them. turns them, extracts wealth from them. This is not optimism. This is accuracy. The riches are already here. They have always been here. They are not hidden. They are simply filtered out by those whose thoughts are untrained, unfocused, unprepared to receive. Say this now. I see riches in the air. I see value in my work. I see power in every moment. Once you train your mind to see wealth, every day becomes harvest. Every problem becomes potential. Every inconvenience becomes instruction. You walk no longer as a beggar, but as a builder. You wait no longer for a break, you create one. You become dangerous to poverty because you have left behind the lens of limitation. You now walk with the eyes of a king. This is the law. The world becomes what you believe it to be, and you will never attract wealth if you believe it to be scarce. You must think in abundance. You must look for gain. You must speak in gratitude and command. Do not drift through this law. Practice it. Live it, see it, write it, speak it, and you will find that what once passed you by now appears before you because you trained your mind to detect it. Let us now continue to the next law. You cannot think in wealth while surrounded by noise. You cannot command power when your mind is distracted, and you cannot train your subconscious in a world that speaks over your inner voice. Silence is the sanctuary of success. Silence is where riches are conceived. Silence is where the mind returns to law. Every man who has built an empire has had to learn this. Wealth is conceived in quiet. Carnegie planned alone. Ford imagined in solitude. Edison isolated himself to think. Rockefeller took walks, not to escape, but to listen, to the whisper of thought, to the sound of purpose, to the voice of infinite intelligence. You must now establish your own chamber of silence, a sacred space not made of walls or cushions, but of time protected from interruption, at least 30 minutes daily. No sound, no voices, no pages turning, no thinking of errands or troubles, only your aim, only your affirmations, only the picture of your future, fully formed. Say this aloud. In silence I grow strong. My riches multiply in stillness. I do not speak confusion. I sit in command. This is not luxury. This is necessity. Your subconscious mind cannot receive orders while distracted. It cannot act on scattered thought. If your day is ruled by interruptions, your fortune shall be ruled by delays. Silence is the forge where thought is shaped into command. The drifter fears silence, because in silence he must face his thoughts. But the man of purpose enters silence as a king enters his council. He does not fear the quiet. He uses it to review the plan, repeat the aim, rehearse the image of success until it burns like a flame in the darkness. Repeat this. My mind does not wander. My mind returns to purpose. My mind repeats wealth in silence. You must schedule silence with the same obedience you would schedule labor, morning or night, but it must be daily. This is your meeting with riches, your counsel with infinite intelligence. It is not optional, it is the foundation. During this time, speak your aim aloud, whisper your affirmations, then see them vividly in color and movement. Do not imagine idly, imagine with control, imagine with precision. Do not wish, rehearse. In silence, repeat. I see myself as wealthy. I see myself in command. I see myself surrounded by riches earned through service, law, and definite thought. You will be tempted to skip this. The noise of the world will demand your attention. But remember, noise is the enemy of wealth. It pulls the mind into reaction. Silence returns it to direction. Each minute you sit in silence and command your thoughts. You strengthen your mental magnet. You condition your subconscious to obey only one law. You replace the pull of doubt with the rhythm of belief. Understand this. It is not effort that multiplies wealth. It is concentrated thought. 1 minute of directed imagination is worth more than 1,000 hours of wandering labor. But the imagination must be fed in stillness.